How's it going, everybody? Chris here, the amateur guitar nerd, and today coming at you with just a laid-back video where we're going to check out one of my favorite guitars, what I affectionately call the King Bourbon Les Paul Studio Plus. And I got this guitar about 2 years ago and have really enjoyed it, been very impressed ever since. It is a Les Paul Studio Plus, a 2022 or 2023, whatever year, specifically, but it is the Bourbon Burst finish. This was a Sweetwater exclusive, and I'm not affiliated with Sweetwater. I did pay for this guitar. I'm not affiliated with anything I talk about. But this was a Sweetwater exclusive where it came with the bourbon finish, which is just gorgeous. I think it's a kind of a cool take on that classic tobacco burst or classic burst type looks that you see. And then it had a bunch of special appointments. So today we're going to run through those. I'm going to talk about why I love this guitar. Might even give you a little bit of a sound from it. I'm not a professional guitarist. I'm not an amazing improv guy or anything like that, but I'll kind of show a few things as we're talking through the pickups. There's a couple of things that I've done to this guitar to kind of give it my own flair, and jumping right in here, that's one of the things I'm going to start off with. You can see here, if you can check it out on the camera, I had a custom truss rod cover made for this, and it's a little thing, but I found this guy, Scott from WEC Inlays up in Canada. Awesome guy, awesome company. Check out their website. I'll link it in the notes below, but they do custom truss rod covers with mother of pearl, and since I'm a fan of chess and I have kind of a nostalgia for that from some time with my great grandfather, I thought it'd be cool with the classic vibe of this guitar to go with the King chess piece. So it's got the King mother of pearl truss rod cover. It's got the bourbon finish, i.e. the King Bourbon Les Paul as far as my collection goes. The other stuff that this guitar came with was a AA maple top. It's got a flame to it. Might be kind of tough to see, but it does have a little bit of a flame to it and figure to it, which is nice. You don't always see that on the Les Pauls. It's got ultra modern weight relief, so this one actually only weighs about 8.4 pounds, which I love. Saves the back, and all in all, I couldn't be happier with how this guitar feels, how it weighs, and how it feels in the hand, on the neck. I think they call it the slim taper 60s neck. It's a mahogany neck, it's a mahogany body, and like I said, I've been really impressed with this guitar from the get-go. For me, before I started playing years ago, I just remember anytime I thought about the idea of playing guitar, learning guitar, I just always was enamored with the Les Paul shape. It just seemed classic to me. I always gravitated more towards that design, this design, versus like the Stratocasters and things like that. And for me, like the Gibson Les Paul was the dream, right? And it wasn't the first guitar I got. It was far from it. And even though I started with the Epiphone, Les Paul here, which really gave me that feel. That was my first, real guitar that I bought, and after I got a little serious, right? But this was my first Gibson, and it kind of fulfilled that dream. So not to get too sappy, but it was pretty cool to kind of finally get to that point where I was able to get an actual Gibson Les Paul. And I've been super happy with it, especially for the price point. So it's got, I think, a rosewood fingerboard, and then this one also came with plecked frets, which was kind of cool. It just was part of the package, and I'm still trying to figure out if it makes a difference. Like, I think maybe it does. It feels good. I have no problem, moving up and down the neck and everything like that. I love the feel. But I just don't know, right? I don't have any other plecked guitars. I've thought about taking one of the guitars I play the most and having it plecked at my local shop because they offer that. just to see if I could tell the difference really. But let me know in the comments. Let me know if you really think that the Plek treatment really is worth the $200 or $300 that it costs to go through it. But this one did come with it, and I mean I've been happy. You know, I think it feels really good, which is awesome. I'm running today through my EVH 5150 50 watt on the clean channel. I love using that as a pedal platform. I got it down through my pedal board here, and I've got just the JHS Clover Pre Amp with just, it's like at what, 8 or 9 o'clock, just enough to give it a little extra juice because I'm attenuated to keep the volumes low, and it tends to make the clean channel on this one just a little quiet, so give it a little bit of a boost. But right now, that's all that is just the clean. Great sounding guitar, great sounding guitar. Moving on, you know, the other thing that I did to this guitar, and kind of the funny story about how I came to this guitar specifically, was that I've replaced the pickups as soon as I got the guitar, and that is because I kind of went backwards in this situation where I bought the pickups and then matched the guitar so I could play the pickups. You know, it probably doesn't make any sense. I'm an amateur, I don't know, but for me, I had an opportunity when Gibson first released the Greeny humbucker set, right? The clones of the pickups in Kirk Hammet's 1950s Les Paul, the Greeny, right? That was owned by Peter Green and Gary Moore. And they put out just the pickups a little bit after they came out with like the $20,000 clone and from the custom shop, and they came out with the $2,500 Epiphone or whatever it was, right? They had a couple really expensive ones. Well, they put out, you know, $250 set of the pickups, and they were the actual pickups that came in those guitars. And I just scooped them immediately, and I sat on them for a while, right? I had them, I knew I wanted them. I didn't know if they were going to be limited or sold out or anything like that, so I sat on them. And then when I found this guitar, I was like, that's the one that's going to get the Greenybuckers. So this guitar came with the Gibson 490R and 498T humbuckers, and they sounded pretty good, but I had these already on hand, and so this, I do have the Gibson Greenybucker set in this, right? It's got the reverse polarity rhythm pickup in the bridge, and it's got a great sounding set. It's got a great sounding neck pickup, and I kind of like it in the middle where you get that little bit of in between come in and give it a little bit more, you know, character and grit. Yeah, I kind of like it. But anyways, yeah, so that was kind of the story behind this guitar, was that I started out with the pickups. I wanted to match a guitar to it and kind of make an instant classic. The only other thing that I did to this specifically that, you know, was a little bit different was I did change over. You might have noticed I put some PRS lampshade tuning knobs on it for volume and tone knobs here, just because I thought that that orange glow and that classic look just worked so perfect with the finish and kind of blended them in. And so, you know, that's kind of the thing, right? You know, find what works for you, find what you like, give it an aesthetic, make it your own, and go for it, you know? So I made that work. So that was kind of my little bit of customization to this guitar. But all in all, I absolutely love this guitar. This red back, look at that. It's like all that cherry, that classic kind of SG cherry with a lot of grain on it. You know, definitely love the look of this guitar, front and back, and just sounds great, you know. Just was playing a little bit of the clean stuff for you. I've got a awesome couple new pedals here that I've gotten that sound great with this thing, and I'm not going to go crazy, but just to give you an idea, here is the Mythos pedals. This is the Mjolnir Overdrive. This is their clone from the Wildwood Guitars exclusive. This thing sounds awesome, and I don't have it juiced. I've got it kind of more as like a beefy, transparent overdrive, if you will, but I love how this thing sounds. It gives it that grit, you know. this thing is just super cool. And then another thing here, if you want a little bit more distortion, right, we want to go a little bit more maybe into the Metallica tones, you can definitely hit it with the heavy distortion. So this is the Lichtlaerm Audio Total Distortion Worship collaboration they did with Cult Effects. I keep playing with this thing. It's got gnarly tones. It's like 3 pedals in one. Get yourself one of these if you get a chance. But this thing is super cool. So yeah, anyways, definitely not a pro guitarist, but just messing around here. Hopefully that gives you an idea of kind of the different tones that you can get with these pickups too, right, which is awesome. But I do a lot with this guitar. I love messing around with all sorts of different genres, from blues to rock, to everything in between. You can kind of turn the pots down as well and kind of back it off and get, you know, not quite acoustics, I would say, but if you wanted to get pretty clean and kind of lighten it up like that, you can get close. But anyways, really enjoy this guitar. Hope you found it interesting. The Les Paul Studio Plus Sweetwater exclusive Bourbon burst that I call the King Bourbon. And if there's other gear you want to talk about, or you have any questions about any of the other things that I touched on here, throw them in the comments and I'll get back to you. Keep rocking.